Hey, is that folk music there you play there? What is that? How do you call that folk music?
I think it was Studs Terkel who asked Big Bill Brunzi, did he consider his blues music to be folk music? And Big Bill says, well, never heard no horse.
Don't hesitate. It could be your ticket to a new tomorrow.
Ah, the cuckoo, she's a pretty bird, and she warbles as she flies. But the cuckoo never warbles before the 4th day of July. Jack of diamonds, I know you of old. You robbed my poor pockets of their silver and their gold.
40 Morris Street in
Oh, the cuckoo, she's a pretty bird, and she warbles as she flies. But the cuckoo never warbles before the 4th day of July. Gonna climb up on a mountain in a treetop way up high. I'm gonna sit there in my treetop and watch the eagles come flying by. Gonna get me big old shotgun, about as long as I am tall. Gonna load my old shotgun with a 20-inch iron ball. Oh, the cuckoo, she's a pretty bird, and she warbles as she flies. But the cuckoo never warbles before the 4th day of July. Oh, the cuckoo, she's a pretty bird, and she warbles as she flies. You should never harm a cuckoo before the 4th day of July. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ralph Litwin, and the show is Horses Sing None of It. And usually you're used to seeing me here with some other guest, but unfortunately somebody was not able to make it at the last minute, so I'm sitting in so we don't waste our valuable and precious studio time. And as you may or may not know, we have copyright restrictions here, so I'm devoting this show to the mountain minor tuning of banjo, which these are all ancient tunes that have no copyright restrictions on them. And The mountain minor tuning is basically a G minor tuning on the banjo, and that was one of the standards that people play in that tuning. And here's one that's actually I heard on a Bob Dylan album many years ago, and but it's old folk song about a murder, which many old folk songs are about. Went out last night for to make my rounds, saw a little city and I blowed it down. Went back home and I went to bed with a 44 smokeless under my head. Woke up next morning about 9:30, tied to the buggy standing in line. Hustling gal was coming around, taking a little Sadie to the burying ground. Well, I started thinking about a deed I'd done, grabbed my hat and away I run. Run pretty fast, but it was too slow, they caught up to me down Jericho. I stand on the corner reading my bill. Sheriff come up to me from Thomasville. Says, "There's sorry's your name, Brown. Remember that night you blow little Sadie down." Said, "No sir, my name is Robert E. Lee. Never murdered little Sadie in the first degree. First degree or the second degree. If you got any papers, don't serve them to me." He tied my hands, dressed me in black, took me on train, put me back. Had no money for to go my bail, they stuck me down in Townsville jail. It's a judge and jury taking the stand. Judge up papers in his right hand. 41 days and 41 nights, 41 years to wear the ball and stripe. Went out last night for to make my rounds, saw little Sadie and I blowed her down. Went back home and I went to bed with a 44 smokeless under my head. Hi Barrett, how you doing? So there's another one in the mountain minor key. Now you might say some pretty sad sounding songs, but there's actually some happy sounding songs in the mountain minor key too, of which I know at least one. Cock old hen, cluck and sing, ain't let an egg since way last spring. Cock old hen, cluck and squaw, ain't let an egg since way last fall. First time she cackled in the pot. Next time she cackled in the pot. Cluck old hen, cluck and sing, ain't let an egg since way last spring. Cock old hen, cluck and squaw, ain't let an egg since way last fall. Old hen, she lays eggs for the railroad man. Sometimes one, sometimes two, sometimes enough for the whole damn crew. Cluck old hen, cluck and sing, ain't let an egg since way last spring. Cluck old hen, cluck and squaw, ain't let an egg since way last fall. cackled in the lot. Next time she cackled in the pot. Cluck, old hen, cluck and sing. Ain't laid an egg since way last spring. Old hen, cluck and squaw. Ain't laid an egg since way last fall. Cluck, old hen. Bob's clapping on his leg there. Thanks, Bob. About this point in the show, I usually ask my guest, what is it that what is it that got them interested in music? Well, actually, I'll talk about what actually got me interested in banjo instead, because I was playing ukulele since I was a kid. That's another story, but when I was in high school, there was this friend of mine named Fred Bartenstein III, and he was really into bluegrass music, and he was a great guitar player and good singer, and he said, "Ralph, there's this guy named Uncle Dave Macon. You got to hear him." And so he took me to a record store in Elizabeth where you could actually buy these records of old-time musicians, and showed me which record to buy, and so I bought it. And Uncle Dave Macon was pretty wild, and I really got into it. And the rest, as they say, is
history.
I was trying to think of a different word than that, Bob, but history, herstory. So more Mountain Miner tunes. This one comes from the Holy Modal Rounders. I heard this as a recording. You're back in the 60s. Same old man sitting at the mill. Mill goes around of its own free will. Yes, I'm glad to be back home. New York City, have to travel on alone. It's the same old woman hanging out the wash. Now she's wearing a Macintosh, hanging out the wash in the middle of the rain. New York City has gone insane. Well, I thought the song was kind of short, so I figured I'd add another verse. It's the same old dog sitting at his feet. That old dog has A1 meat. He's taking it easy on Easy Street. Gets quality meat on a quality street. It's the same old man sitting at the mill. Mill goes around of its own free will. Yes, I'm glad to be back home. New York City, have to travel on alone. I don't think I'm going to make it on Mountain Miner tunes. I'm going to have to think of something else, but I got one more. And this is a standard, even Bob knew about this one. Shady Grove, my little love, Shady Grove, my darling, Shady Grove, my little love, I'm going back to Harlan. I went back to Shady Grove, my little girl standing at the door, long hair hanging down her neck, pretty bare feet on the floor, singing Shady Grove, my little love, Shady Grove, my darling, Shady Grove, my little love, I'm going back to Harlan. Peaches in the summertime, apples in the fall. If I can have that little gal of mine, I don't want none at all. Singing Shady Grove, my little love, Shady Grove, my darling, Shady Grove, my little love, I'm going back to Harlan. Once I had an old banjo, strings are made of twine. Only tune that it could play was Trouble on My Mind. Singing Shady Grove, my little love, Shady Grove, my darling, Shady Grove, my little love, I'm going back to Harlan. Shady Grove, my little love, Shady Grove, my darling, Shady Grove, my little love, I'm going back to Harlan. Well, I'm now going out of the mountain minor tuning. You can hear this. As long as I mention Uncle Dave Macon, I'll do one Uncle Dave Macon's tunes. I've been living in the city, but like that country life. I got a little country girl I'm gonna call my wife. The first night I met her, the night was very dark. But you can bet I'm happy and jolly as a lark. For I'll tickle Nancy and Nancy'll tickle me. Ah-ha-ha, when we're together, how happy we shall be. For we shall sit together as happy as can be. 'Cause I'll tickle Nancy and Nancy'll tickle me. Well, the next night I met her, and the next night after that, we kissed one another, and then she told me that, of course that means you'd take me to church. Of course I answered yes. In another week we'll married be, and the rest, why, you can guess. For I'll tickle Nancy, and Nancy'll tickle me. Ah, when we're together, how happy we shall be. For we shall sit together as happy as can be. And I'll tickle Nancy, and Nancy'll tickle me. married, we invite you all to call. Come around, be careful with us in the fall. For in the winter by the fire sits Nancy on my knee. And I'll tickle Nancy, and Nancy'll tickle me. Yeah. It's okay to laugh, Barbara. It's a funny song. Don't stifle yourself now. So, I'm sure everybody wants to know the difference between an onion and a banjo. Nobody cries when you cut up a banjo. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. And of course you want to know the difference between a trampoline and a banjo. You take your shoes off when you jump on a trampoline. And naturally, you'd like to know the definition of perfect pitch. That's when you throw the banjo into the toilet and totally miss the rim. And of course, there's always, what is it that has 20 feet and 7 teeth? It's the front row at a banjo contest. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. There's 1,000 of them. And when you throw a banjo and an accordion over a cliff, which one hits the ground first? Who cares? You got any more for me, Bob, there? You've got 100 of them. Well, how about some more Uncle Dave Macon? Uncle Dave was a pretty wild guy. He had these 2 gold teeth right in the front of his mouth, which was apparently fashionable back then, and big mutton chop sideburns. And he would sometimes introduce his songs on record. I heard one that was very funny. In the old days, they used to play the records in the record store before you bought them. And he introduced one song by saying, "Folks, buy this record. It's well worth the money, and besides, it'll please the lady or the gentleman selling it to you." But this particular song he introduced this way. This is a song that took place in the years of Prohibition. So it refers to Prohibition as the bone dry. And Uncle Dave was an anti-automobile crusader. He was definitely not in favor of automobiles and trucks because he was a partner in a wagoning firm which was put out of business probably by the automobiles and trucks. And this is called wagoning. And he introduced it this way. He said, "Well, good people, I wagon and farm for over 20 years, and the style of my wagon and firm was the Macon Midway Mule and Mitchell Wagon Transportation Company, situated on the dividing line and operated by gentlemen on and off a time. Main office 8 1/4 mile East Main Street, Murfreesboro, and 10 3/4 mile West Main Street, Woodbury, Tennessee." Now here's my song. I remember the years I began to haul, it was during the summertime. Back in them good old days, you could buy whiskey, beer, and wine. I walked right into every saloon, strictly up to time. There never was a night I didn't ride home boots to the end of the line. I've been wagoning for over 20 years and working on the farm. I bet $100 to a heavy ginger cake I'm here when the trucks are gone. I love that lyric. I'll bet $100 to a half a ginger cake I'm here when the trucks are gone. Well, I'll tell you right now, when the bone dry come, you can't find whiskey that's good. So I give up all of my drinking and I've gone to serving God. I love to go to big meetings, yeah, I'm gonna tell you why. 'Cause I love to sing and pray to God, great heaven, when I die. I've been wagoning for over 20 years and working on a farm. I bet $100 to a half a ginger cake I'm here when the trucks are gone. while I hold my line. But when my feet and my body get cold, I'm walking half the time. I talk right to my power, they understand my call. And when I holler, hey, get a ride, they know just how to walk. I've been working in for over 20 years and working on a farm. I bet $100 to a half a ginger cake I'm here when the trucks are gone. Now an auto can go quick and fast, a wagon has not the speed. But 6 good mules and a Mitchell wagon is a favorite, yes indeed. I'm on my way to heaven, gotta tell you just how I feel. I'd rather ride a wagon and go to heaven than hell in an automobile. I've been wagoning for over 20 years and working on a farm. I bet $100 to a half a ginger cake I'm here with the truck. I've been wagoning for over 20 years and working on the farm. I bet $100 to a half a ginger cake I'm here when the trucks are gone. Hot dog. Hold your applause, please, till the end of the program. Well, I got one more old-time tune to take it out with. They better be rolling the credits pretty soon because they're running out of time here. Well, love, oh, love's such a very funny thing. It catches the young and the old. Just like a made-up boarding house hash, many a man's have been sold. Well, it makes you feel like fresh water, really. It causes your head to swell. You'll lose your mind cause love is blind and it empties your pockets as well. It's boys, keep away from the girls, I say, and give them lots of room. Cause you find when you're wed that the bang until you're dead with the bald headed end of the broom.